Welcome to your Aquarius horoscopes for the last week of March the 24th through the 30th, and officially the week we go into the shadow period of the Mercury retrograde, which starts next week. It is a full Aries Mercury retrograde. Pardon me. So we will be expecting some challenges coming up for that, specifically around aggressive communication. Aries is a sign that really doesn't like problems to continue. They like to fix them. They like to blow them up and rebuild them. And so when you're dealing with problems specifically around relationships, this aggressive communication tends to come up within certain patterns of the relationship that have not changed. They keep going in the same exact way that they've always gone, and nothing is actually improving in the relationship. It just becomes more and more frustrating until eventually it just kind of blows. We're all in those types of relationships. We all know those types of people. And we've all been in the situation, yes, even us Aquarians, of keeping our mouths shut and just not saying something about what somebody is doing that bothers us, in order to just ignore it, hope it goes away. Maybe the problem will solve itself. I mean, come on, how many times does that really happen? So, unfortunately, it's not pleasant. Fortunately, it allows you, it puts you in a situation to where this is it. We cannot deal with things the way they are. They have to change, and it forces you to change the way you're communicating about the problem so that maybe you can find a resolution to the problem. It's all about Pluto, and we're continuing for it to be all about Pluto because, of course, there is no other influences in Aquarius this week. And Pluto is being influenced and influencing in many different ways, as Pluto's focus really is on our relationship with money, which is an interesting concept to think about for sure, because most people don't tend to think about having a relationship with our finances, but we do. How our mindset around our finances is directly affects what happens within our financial goals. We Aquarians are brilliant, but over brilliant. Too many ideas, too many possibilities, too many different ways that we could solve a problem is a form of self-sabotage, because we're so focused on going through all those ideas over and over again, nothing is getting done, right? And we want to change this. Pluto is all about change and transformation. So it is literally, I am taking my power over my finances and I am going to make this change. And then we put obstacles in place to get in the way so that we don't make the change. Now, we don't want to waste this energy, not that we are, because Pluto isn't going anywhere for a while. But while we have Pluto's energy going in this direction, we definitely want to utilize it. It's a really awesome opportunity to understand where you're getting in the way of your financial goals. Um, Pluto kicks off the week in a trine with the moon, as the moon is in Virgo Libra right at the beginning of the week. And that the moon's focus at the time is on the home. So we're really looking specifically at what we can do and the changes that we can make at home to grow that financial stability. It's true that any way that you can cut money on your cut spending on things that are not necessary does help in terms of your financial goals. So that's definitely a thing there. And it's a good way to kick off the week, just kind of sort of looking at a fresh slate of what can I omit right now that just isn't needed. I mean, think about it. How many apps do we have that we pay for that we all of a sudden forget about and we don't know because we're paying for so many of them in different places? It's all money that is just kind of sort of going out the window, and we want to put a stop to that as much as possible. Coupons, going to a cheaper grocery store, those things are very helpful as well, because the more money you can save, the more money goes towards your goals, right? As we move into the week a little bit, we wind up with Pluto in a square with Mercury, which is unfortunately exactly where we're going to be next week when Mercury goes retrograde. So its first week of retrograde for sure is we're gonna be directly affected by that. Isn't that just awesome news? And Mercury's focus is on our support system. So we really are looking at Pluto is giving us what the Mercury retrograde communication issue that we are going to be dealing with right off the bat as Aquarians. We have these financial goals. We know what we need to do. And of course, it doesn't line up with the other people in our lives that are involved. What's interesting being an Aquarian woman to me, and being a married Aquarian woman at that, is that while I know that I'm married and I can't make all the decisions independently, I still feel like an independent individual. And so this creates a bit of a challenge when I start to make these plans and I know where I need to go. But then my husband comes in and infiltrates that without knowing that I even made any plans, or gets upset because I made plans without him, which he has a right to do. Although in the moment, not, I don't really think that, because I'm thinking about it emotionally. So if you are one of those Aquarians that seems to be in a pattern like that, this could really blow up this week in terms of really understanding just how supportive your support system really is, especially when you think you've got intellectual support, the smart person that you really need for the job turns out not to be the right person to ask for support when it comes to this particular thing. So I tend to interpret this in a couple of different ways, but the main way that I look at this in terms of how it works is that just because we want something to work doesn't mean that it's going to work. So it's best to look at it objectively and honestly, and not through eyes of what we want. And it's easier for us to accept when something isn't working when we're looking at it honestly and sensibly and logically, if that makes sense. Now, the good news is that Pluto does continue his sextile with Neptune. Neptune is very much focused on career. So there is energy going towards making money, making changes in the career to make that money, whatever. Things are moving forward. I think overthinking the problem is generally what always gets in our way, because we want to have all the facts together and we want it all to be this perfect, well-oiled machine before it even gets off the ground, which is not how it works, unfortunately. Believe me, I've tried so many times in the past already. It does not work like that. We have to have faith in the process and we have to have faith in ourselves. Otherwise, we can't do it. And that is the bottom line there. As the moon, we're not getting any moon action this week. That is going to be happening next week. So the moon isn't necessarily interacting with Pluto at all, other than right there at the beginning of the week. And it is actually kind of a really healthy interaction when you think about it. So I feel like this week for you guys is really a prime opportunity, not to make plans in terms of your financial goals, but to really pay attention to and understand what your relationship is to your finances. Do you have a healthy financial relationship? Do you have a healthy financial mindset? I almost guarantee that you're going to say no, especially if you've never looked at this before. You're probably going to say, no, I don't have a healthy financial mindset. I don't have a healthy relationship with my money. It comes in, it leaves. It comes in, it leaves. Or I'm just constantly scrounging for it in order to survive, which is just so exhausting. It does not take much to change your relationship with your finances, but the first step is always identifying where your problems are so that you can fix those problems and move on, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation through my Coffee link in the description of the video. Really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. Also, no, not also. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Also, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys make it a productive week. Let's do this. Let's be successful, fellow Aquarians. I'll see you guys next week.